Okay, more perimeter, except this time we're going to have two different measurements. The only difference, maybe you have this measurement is in inches and this measurement is in feet. And you know you can't just add together inches and feet, which is what we do with perimeter, right? You add around the object or the figure, whatever it is, the shape that you're measuring. Okay, so if one is in inches and one is in feet, you can't just add those together. You have to convert one of them. Sometimes you can choose which one you want to convert, and then sometimes they tell you which one to convert. Okay, so let's look at this. By the way, hopefully you're memorizing these formulas because you're going to need to know those. P stands for perimeter, equals 2 times, what's the L stand for? Length, and we also remember the longer side length, plus 2 times W. So there's 2 wide sides, 2 long sides. You add them together to get your perimeter. P equals perimeter. Okay, so on this section right here, it tells you you have to convert to the greater unit. Remember, greater doesn't mean, wow, that was great. It means big, like Nineveh was a great city, but it wasn't a great city, right? It was wicked. It was just a big city. It's a word that we have changed a little bit to mean something different, but great usually means bigger. Greater than, less than, okay? So the greater unit, what would be the greater unit? Feet or inches there? Feet. So they want us to convert to the greater unit before finding the perimeters of these rectangles. Okay, so we want to, let's see, can you see that okay? Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so 7 feet 3 inches by 8 feet. Okay, so this part's in feet, but the inches are not in feet. So we got to figure out how much of a foot is that, okay? How many inches are in a whole foot? 12, okay? So we have 3 out of the 12 inches that we need to make a foot. So what fraction would this be reduced to? 3/12 reduces to 1/4. Good. So we have 7 1/4 by 8. Okay, so we're going to do 2 times 7 1/4 plus 2 times 8, right? And usually you write P equals, but at this point I think I already told you, as long as you know what you're doing, as long as you remember what the formulas are, because they will ask you on a quiz which match the formulas, which is the formula for a perimeter of a rectangle, which is the formula for a perimeter of a square. So you do need to know these. But if you're already got this figured out, you don't have to write it all out like we do for algebra. Okay, so P equals 2 times, oops, and I did these backwards. That should be 8 and that should be 7 1/4, but that's okay because the length is supposed to be first, then the width. The length is longer, that's okay. So we're going to do the parentheses first, remember? So 2 times 7 1/4. 2 times 7 is 14, and 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 1/2, right? So 14 1/2 plus 2/8. 2/8 is 16. So our perimeter, you add these together, equals 30 1/2 feet. Got to have the measurement there. Okay, does that make sense? So you do the same thing here. 2 yards and 1 foot by 3 yards. So you're going to change this into how, it's going to be a fraction. How much of a fraction of a foot, or excuse me, of a yard is just 1 foot? Okay, 1 over how many feet in a yard? 3. So 1 over 3, so that's 1/3. So we're going to do P equals 2 times 2 1/3 plus 2 times 3. And I did this backwards again because there should be switched, but that's okay. We still get the same answer either way. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. And 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3. So 4 2/3 plus 2 times 3 equals 6. So we're going to do P equals 6 plus 4, 10 2/3 what? We put this into yards, right? 2 10/3 yards. Do you see? Okay. Now let's see. That leaves you 1 to do by yourselves. C. Okay, let's go down to section 2. This time I'm going to leave you with 2 to do. I'll do this first one with you. Okay, this time the instructions say convert to the lesser unit. Sometimes they let you have your choice, but sometimes they don't. You got to be careful. You got to look and see what they want you to do. Always read directions. Okay, the lesser unit is the smaller one. So we have yards and feet. Which one is the smaller? The feet, right? Okay, so we need to convert both of these into feet before we can add them together. Okay, so 5 yards is, how many feet are in a yard? 3. So 5 yards is, 5 times 3 is, that would be 15 feet plus 2 feet. So this together would be 17. See, 15, 5 yards equals 15 feet, right? Plus 2 more equals 17 feet. That's the length. Okay, the width is 4 yards, which also needs to be converted to the lesser unit. So 3 times 4 is 12. 12 feet. Okay, so now we can easily go P equals, you could do 2 times L plus 2 times W if that helps you, because that's what we're actually doing. Memorize that formula. Okay, and then on the second line, P equals 2 times the length, which is the longer one, 2 times 17 plus 2 times 12. And I know some of you can do these in your head, and that's fine, as long as you know what you're doing as far as the formula, because when you get to the test, they're going to ask you which formula goes with which, so you need to know. Okay, 2 times 17 is 34, plus, I'm just doing this the right way this time, 2 times 12 is 24. So P equals 58. What did we convert this into? Feet. 58 feet. Okay, so I'm going to leave you this one, B and C, this time to do. Remember the lesser unit, millimeters. Remember when we learned those at the beginning of the year? You take 1 step. Centimeters is 1 step away from millimeters. So it's 1 0, so it's 10. There's 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. You're going to need that for that. So put both of them. You're going to multiply this one. I'm pretty much telling you, because I'm afraid you'll just all end up emailing me. So 3 centimeters is, well, 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. So 3 centimeters would be 3 times 10, 30. So this will be 30 millimeters. Since they want this in the lesser unit, you're going to go with millimeters. Now you should be able to do that one, no problem. Okay, so that's how you do those two. And then down here on the bottom, it says to find the perimeters of these squares. We've already done this. What's the formula for a square, though? Somebody say it. Say it loud, because I can't hear you from here very well. 4 times S, right? For a square, all 4 sides are the same. So it's 4 times S, or sometimes they'll write it the other way, S times 4. I'm not sure which way they actually have it written. But the S stands for side. It has 4 sides, right, that are the same. 4 sides, so you're going to do 4 times that, 4 times that, okay? That's pretty much all of it. Let me just double check the back and see. Yep, it's all review. Enjoy.